Every Friday, I sit down to record this podcast. I have this internal debate whether I should close my blinds or not. There's two large windows right in front of me here, and this one on my left side casts all this light in, and my face is like super blown out in the podcast episodes. Not that it really matters, because this is a podcast. This is Greg's World Podcast, by the way, episode 124. But today I decided that I would close the blind. I would turn on my fancy pants blue light, and we'll rock it like this. You guys can let me know, the ones that are watching this, as opposed to listening this on the Apple Podcast or Spotify platforms, because you can listen to this anywhere. See how this whole blind thing just tied into all of the things that I needed to check off my list when we enter into the podcast zone. So yeah, I'm rocking this out. Not that it really matters, like I said. But welcome everyone to this week's episode. It's currently Friday, May 13th at 10:51 a.m. It's been a wonderful week. I don't know what it was, but this week I just felt so happy and like so optimistic and so productive. And I don't know what to chalk it up to other than, I guess, it being spring and like almost feeling like summer, because the weather has just been fantastic. We literally had like 4 days in a row. Today's the first cloudy day, of course. But we had 4 days in a row with nothing but sun and it feeling like beach weather outside. And I feel like that's what I need in my life to like really be productive and happy. I should probably go move somewhere where it doesn't rain and no snow and no cold weather. I feel like if I had that more often than not, I think maybe like everything would be elevated with me. But maybe I would get sick of it too. I don't know if moving to Southern California or something like that, or maybe moving to the desert would be ideal, because I do like the variety that Pennsylvania has. I just wish, the winter like condensed itself down a little bit, because you have, I would say, from like May until October is pretty decent weather. Like it's all good. And then like I'm even accepting of it into like November and December, because it's Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's okay if it's cold and there's some snow out. You're opening your presents and everything's white outside. But then January, February, March, sometimes even April, it's just a slog here. And you're just trying to get through it and hoping for the next thing. And I feel like we're at that next thing. That being said, we did have some rain this week. Our week started out last Saturday. I guess I'll pick the story up, being that I record these on Fridays. You're listening to them on Sundays or maybe later in the week. I know a lot of peeps like to listen or watch this. Let's try English. Listen to and or watch this. Why do you listen to but you don't watch to? I'm going to have to ask my wife about that. She's an English teacher. Why do you listen to but you don't watch to? Is listening different than watching when you're consuming something? I don't know. Some people do this in the mornings on their way to work, or maybe while you're at work. If that's the case, I hope you're having a glorious day. I hope your Monday's treating you right. I hope it's sunny outside for you. And I hope you had one of those mornings where everything just kind of went right. Like, you got up, like you literally just stood up and like you were all ready for work. Your shoes just magically were on your feet. You walked outside. The paper boy threw a newspaper directly into your hand. Your coffee was like sitting there waiting for you somehow. Like everything just flowed. Every green light all the way through town until you got into work, where they presented you like Employee of the Century Award. If this happened, let me know. Hopefully, let's just hope that it wasn't a terrible day. All right. Where were we though? We're getting way off topic here. I actually love this. I really do love this, and I hope you do too. I love listening to podcasts. My whole week was filled with podcasts, and I'm like running out. Like I'm trying to find new stuff to listen to, because like whenever I'm working on something, it's just so nice just to listen. You don't have to like see anything. You can just listen in, and hopefully the conversation's good. I know it's hard to do as a one-man crew. I definitely like the ones where it's like people vibing off each other, but some people really can do the single solo thing, and I hope to someday like reach those levels. But Saturday we went out yard sailing, community yard sales out at my old stomping grounds where I used to live. Never good yard sales out there. There's no like kid. I mean, this is why. It's all old people. There's no kids that live out there. So therefore there's nothing I'm interested in, because I never grew up. I'm still out there hunting for Lego. I'm hunting for Hot Wheels. I'm hunting for like Thomas trains. It is what it is, but I never really find anything out in those parts, and this was pretty much that, although we did find each of those things, and it was pretty exciting to have actually found some stuff. But it was fun going out. I definitely was glad that I had a rain jacket and I wore a hat and stuff, and the pants I was wearing, I found out that morning, were like kind of waterproof. They're Eddie Bauer pants. I love their clothing, by the way. I wish they would sponsor me. They don't even know I exist, I'm sure. But in fact, this shirt's Eddie Bauer. It doesn't even matter. But yeah, the pants were waterproof, and I didn't get wet at all, even though we were getting dumped on, and I had a fun time out there with my mother and father-in-law. My father-in-law is so gracious enough to drive us around, and it makes it so easy to film vlogs, which I'm trying to do because I love documenting our yard sale stuff. And some people comment that that's like their favorite thing that they watch on our channel, which I would probably be for me too. I watch some people that do like, I guess they're like more like resellers as opposed to just like toy hunters. But it's fun to see them go to yard sales and see the things they come across. And I'm kind of envious because it seems like maybe they live in like maybe a little more wealthy areas than I do, and maybe a little more populated. So they're finding like really good stuff as opposed to like old ladies' knickknacks and baby clothes and stuff like that. But it's all part of the fun. And I love going out with my family, and we oftentimes sneak over and get some lunch and all that fun stuff too. So I had fun even if it was raining. But we made it through that day, and I just had an awesome week this week. One thing that I worked on that you'll actually see video on, it took me a couple days, but I expanded my chicken yard. I'm sure you guys were all just like so excited about that. Like it was the thing you've been waiting for, said no one ever. But I have all these plans for my chicken area to not only expand it, which I did, but there's some other things I'm going to do as well that you'll be seeing in upcoming videos. So I won't spoil the surprise, but I will spoil it. I had an automatic coop door that's coming in, so it opens in the morning, closes at night. I might have mentioned it here. I talk about stuff on live streams, talk about stuff here. I talk about stuff to myself. It's the most dangerous person to talk to because he's a little crazy. But I have that come in. I'm redoing like the way their food and water is. Their little nesting box thing that used to be Mello's winter cat house I put out there. They love that. They're out there just putting their little eggs in there every day. I pop the lid open. All my eggs are sitting there all nice and pretty. I'm going to maybe make it a second one of those. I got some cinder blocks coming to level everything out because we live on the side of a freaking mountain. I also have some other things coming as well for our fire pit that's coming today, which in my mind, I was like, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to go to record this podcast. The doorbell's going to ring. Roxy Bear is going to bark. And then I'm going to have to go like take receipt of all of this stuff I got, which is some blocks for making a border, a whole bunch of these bags of chipped marble. I paid the delivery fee to save us like 16 trips to Lowe's with the truck going back and forth to get all these things, plus all of the manual labor. We'll have those bad boys on a pallet probably, and they'll just drop it in my driveway, along with our fire pit that's out there. So next week, that's going to be it. But this week was the chicken yard expansion. Went from 600 square feet of chicken space, chickenable area, new word, just coined it here, all the way up to 1,500 square feet. And at first, like I did this expansion, and I was like, I don't think they're even going to use it because they all just kind of hang around like their food, their coop by the tree. And then I noticed that that's pretty much all they do is hang out in the new spot now. So it seemed like a good idea. One thing I have on order that I think is coming today is, being that we're kind of out there and there's no trees around, I didn't want them out in the sun all day. So I got this shade cloth stuff that I'm going to put out there and see if they hang out under it. It's like a 6 by 8 foot thing. And I think they'll probably literally dig under it and hang out under it. So chicken life is good. I'm like contemplating getting more chickens with my coop. I feel like it's good for 9 chickens, which is what I have now. Because in the wintertime, sometimes they don't want to come outside, and I don't want to like have too many in there. But if it was like it is now, where it's beautiful outside in summer, and they're literally out the second that they can come out in the morning. If there's like a little pinch of sunlight out there, those chickens they're on the go. They're out. I could do like a little alternate perch setup, which I'm already going to do anyway, where I could like stagger it almost like stairs, like low perch, high perch, and then the chickens, I could essentially double my population. But there's another reason as well, and that is related to the egg production, because after I think about, is it 4 years? Chickens really don't lay anymore. We've got a couple out there, at least one that's just kind of a freeloader, as I like to call her, where she's just living her life. She's just a pet. She doesn't lay any eggs. She just is happy to be there, and she survived so many different things, different attacks and stuff like that. But I was thinking it might be good to get like 3 new ones, because my other ones are 2 years old, and we'd have a nice rotation of chickens. Because otherwise, I have these chickens forever. If my fortifications are good, they get closed in at night, nothing comes along, no hawks come down and swoop them, which is another good reason for the shade cloth thing. No foxes, no bears, no rabid raccoons. These chickens could be there forever, which is going to suck because it's nice getting eggs. Like, pull about 7 eggs out a day. And we're just trying to find ways to use them. I'm making pickled eggs, which I love. I love pickled eggs and beets. And like the recipe that I came up with is like a modified one that Cody's mom or grandma gave her. It makes like the most banging pickled eggs. If you've never had pickled eggs and beets before, beets are an acquired taste. You might not like those, but pickled eggs, I like them really vinegary and really sugary at the same time. And like the ones I come up with are amazing. I think I've probably done video on it, but maybe I'll do that again. Which, speaking of that, I'm thinking about doing some more long form content. I know some of you guys love like long videos. And I thought, I have this GoPro. How cool would it be if I just like filmed stuff like crazy? And I didn't go in and chop it up like insanity, like with my yard sale video, for example. I had an hour and 16 minutes worth of footage for that. I spent 2 hours editing that down to 18 minutes or something, whatever the video turned into. That takes a lot of time and effort, especially if you're recording a lot of stuff. But I thought, geez, what if I just turn my GoPro on and I just film myself like doing all kinds of stuff? Like today, we had our septic tank pumped, which was a whole ordeal this week, which I think I'll talk about here, because why not? You're here for the long ride. This is long form content. No, some people don't like this, to be honest with you. But I also changed my air filters in my car. When I went to the dealership, they were like, you should get your cabin engine air filter cleaned. We can do it. I was like, nah, I'll instead of paying you like $80 to do that, I will spend $12 on Amazon and I'll do it myself. It took me like 2 minutes to do, which I was glad I did because they were pretty dirty. I could have filmed that. You may have liked that. I filled in the holes from the septic guy that pumped out our septic tank, which I had done because I wanted to find out where the lids are. Because you have to take, if you guys don't know what septic tanks are, if you don't live on a city sewer system, which we have city water, so we don't have a well, but we have water, but we don't have sewer out here. Just like our old house. That you have a septic tank where all of your waste goes, right? And every like 3 to 5 years, you're supposed to have that pumped out. Because it like works its way down, but you also have to get it pumped. And I was also putting a fire pit in very close to where the lid was in my mind. And I was like, okay, we got to figure out where this lid is, because I don't want to put my epic like hexagon outer ring that I'm making out of these retaining wall bricks. I don't want to put that right over the lid, because that's going to suck in a year or so. When I have to get that thing pumped, I have to unassemble this whole thing. It's like, let's get this done. I'll know where the lid is. It'll be done for like the next 3 or 5 years, and it'll look nice. And that was like this week in drama was kind of that, because the guy came. I explained ahead of time. I was like, I don't know where the lids actually are, but I remember when I was here getting the house inspected, I was walking around with the inspector. The company that I commissioned to do this came, and they like knew everything about this house. Like they had done it for years. And like the old man just walked out and dug a hole straight into the ground and was able to find this lid. I was like, all right, sweet. This is the place I'm going to call. Well, it turns out that the dad is like retired now, of course, and the son has taken over, and the son doesn't know anything about the place. So he came out on Monday and he's like trying to find this thing, looking around. Like, I'm thinking it's like right there and right there-ish. And he found the one, and we started digging that out. But I was like, the other one's down here. And we started digging that, but there was like these pavers that they put over it for some reason. So imagine digging a hole, and you take this lid off, you pump all the poop juice out of there. Thank you for that. And then you put the lid back on, and you said you're going to put all these paver stones over it and then dirt. Like, why? Why would you do that? So he was having like one heck of a day, because last week it had rained for like 3 days straight or something, and people were having issues with their septic tanks. And I was like his last place on Monday, and he was just fed up with life. So he bailed on me. He was like, I just don't have time for this. And I'm like, okay, I can get this. I can dig it out. I'll do it. I'm a man of no actual skill or job or anything. So I can certainly do it. When can you come back? Tomorrow? He's like, I might be able to come back Wednesday or Friday. I'll call you, let you know. And if there's one thing that I've learned about people that are doing work for you, they never call you back. This guy never called me back. So I called on like Wednesday. I'm like, hey, is the dude coming out today? Talked to the lady in the office, and she's like, oh, I was supposed to call you. I'm like, yeah, you were. And she's like, no, he's going to come out on Friday. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. But I went into customer mode, which I want to talk about this topic here that I think some people will be able to relate to. My whole entire life working, I was always representing a company. I could never really say what I wanted to say, how I really felt. I couldn't tell this person, F you, don't you ever come here again. Don't talk to me like that. I'm not taking your crap. Oh, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so. I appreciate that you can't do this thing that you were contractually obligated to do, but let me see if I can find a solution. It's one of those things where you're representing someone. I found in the last few years that I'm no longer employed. I've become the only one that I represent is myself. And I like to be a pretty good advocate for myself. So I told the lady, I said, I'm not super thrilled with your service right now. I called you guys ahead of time, made an appointment, explained that I wasn't entirely sure where the stuff was. That the guy would have to dig it up. I was happy to pay a little extra for that. No problem. You agreed to that. And when he comes out, he didn't want to put the time in, and then he bailed on me. So that wasn't cool. Now I have these giant holes in my yard and I have to keep it that way until Friday, which, between like then and now would seem like an eternity, but now it's not. And I'm like, my yard's messed up and now I got to wait for this. And you can't tell me what time he's even coming on Friday. I'm not thrilled. And then she was kind of taken back by it, but I was like, whatever, let's just get this done. Good news is when he came out today, guy was real nice. We vibed really well. And, he did the job, got it all put back, put the holes back, and it's all good. But the moral of the story is, if somebody wrongs you, you don't have to be a jerk about it. And I preferably don't be a jerk about it. Don't be a Karen. Don't be whatever the male version of Karen is. But like, stand up for yourself, Like, I noticed Cody will let people take advantage of her and stuff like that wherever, whether it be students or school or whatnot. And it's like, I know it's tough because you are representing, I guess the taxpayers, the school district, the board, all of these people. But you also have to represent yourself. And I think that's an important thing to do. And if you can do it in a maybe not a friendly way, but like a matter of the fact way, like I did, you can express your frustration without getting all upset. I think it's good. If anything, it kind of just helps it get off your chest. And I felt better afterwards. So that was the story of the septic tank thing, all done. I know where they are now. Our stuff's coming today from Lowe's, as I mentioned, so we'll be able to get this thing done. And hopefully by next week, I'm going to have just a gorgeous fire pit outside with this lovely crushed marble around it, these beautiful trapezoidal, hexagonal. It's going to be great. I like everything that I do, everything that I want, I envision in my mind. I already know like what I want it to look like. I just need to make it happen. I do that with every aspect of my life. I do that with videos that I want to make, things I like. How am I going to like present this? How do I want to do the intro? What am I going to show? How's the layout going to go? Like when I'm filming vlogs, I already know like shot for shot in my mind, like this is kind of how I want this to go. And it's all about just envisioning things. Like when I'm designing my space down here, I'm like, how do I want this? And I'm really good at just kind of seeing it. And I see this, and I think it's going to be great. And maybe we'll have like a little fireside chat out there sometime. I think that'd be a cool live streaming location. Got a bunch of wood too. So, I mean, we're all set. We got lots of s'more materials. Check. We got hot dogs. Check. What else do you need around a fire? Ice cold 6-packs of soda. Got Coca-Cola. I don't drink. I like the hardest stuff that I drink. Some of this right here, which I will take a swig of. This is my iced tea. Now made with stevia. I used to make this with sugar. Stevia is a nice alternative to that. No calories. There's probably some catch though, but it tastes just like my good iced tea that I make, which is, I like it on the sweet side. Get some ASMR for you folks there. But that was kind of like my week. Lots of good stuff happening. As a result of this boost in productivity and happiness and all this activity that I'm doing outside, my weight has been slipping. And you guys have been wanting updates. I've been like reluctant to give updates because it hasn't really budged since we came back from our Disney trip. I wasn't doing a great job. But here in May, I am currently down as of today. Today's May 13th. Since May 1st, I'm down 5.2 pounds so far in May. It's very conceivable that I could lose 10 pounds this month, which would be wonderful. My ideal weight loss goal would be to like lose another 10 pounds in the next 4 weeks because we're going to be going to the beach and I want to wear my, I got to get my bikini bod, I want to wear the 2-piece. Speaking of that, I want to tell you guys a funny TikTok idea that I had at the beach last year that I told Cody about and she thinks it's funny. So you do like a little shot where you got to the beach the first day, you're wearing your, I'm joking about my bikini, but this would be like for a girl to make this video, I guess, or a girl and a guy. Actually funnier with a girl and a guy. So the girl starts out day one. You're like day one at Ocean City or Outer Banks or whatever. And the girl's wearing a 2-piece, flaunting it, looking really good. The guy's just wearing his swimsuit, right? Then you cut to a clip of them like eating all you can eat crab or whatever that night. And then day 2, she's wearing like a 1-piece. And the guy's still just wearing his normal thing with like slightly bigger gut. And then like day 3, she's wearing like one of those things with like the tutu around it. And then it just progressively gets worse until she's wearing like a full-on cover-up or whatever. And the guy just didn't change at all. And I think a lot of women could relate to that video because it's like, as you feel fatter or getting fatter or whatever, you feel like you have to hide yourself. And the guy just doesn't even care. It doesn't matter. In my mind, I think it's a funny video. Maybe it's already been done. I was kind of inspired by those ones where it's like, there's this one I saw. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Ozark on Netflix, which we're actually finishing right now. It's one of the few things I actually watched this week. Excuse me. They're like day 1 of watching Ozark. Then they go on, they're like day 2 of watching Ozark. And then it's like day 4 of watching Ozark. And he kind of like starts talking like Ruth from the show. And I thought that was really funny. So it kind of reminds me of that. Let me know what you think of my genius TikTok idea. I don't produce any content on there, but I probably could get into it making funny little things. And I'm sure once I got started, like the ideas would start flowing. But that's my TikTok idea. What else happened this week? Oh, we're on the topic of health. Oh goodness, this feels so long ago, but so close. I told you guys last week that I've been battling poison sumac. It was one of those things where essentially I went into the nuclear reactor at Chernobyl and didn't realize I was already a dead man before I was, because I walked out feeling fine, and then my skin started melting off. Not really, but I started like over like 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I was like really bad. I had like stuff all over my legs. My arms started having it. In fact, if you're watching this, you can probably see I got poison right there, and that just kind of came up the other day, which I lost some sleep because of that. So this has been a freaking nightmare. I'm starting to revise my thoughts on what I did. I don't think I just walked through it. I think I cut some poison, and when I picked all the brush up, I think it not only touched my legs but my arm too. Because again, you can see it if you're watching this. You can see my arm there. If you're listening to it, think of a red splotchy spots. Well, this week it got even worse because I got some between my second and third toe on my right foot, and I'll tell you what, dude, I was getting blisters on those, and it was just awful. Like I'm popping these blisters, and it felt so good for like the relief because it was so like pressurized. But then to have like that moist skin and blistered skin between your toes was just awful, and it just kept coming back, and it was itchy. Oh, it was no bueno. This poison sumac has kicked my butt, dude. Like this is 3 weeks now, but I feel like I'm over it a little bit. Like most of it, my legs now are just kind of like scabs, which is good, I guess. Like it just kind of feels like dry skin. There's a spot in my hand that's going away rapidly. I got spots on my fingers. I got spots on this hand. It's all down my legs. It's just a nightmare. But I don't know how I got it between my toes. I'll admit, I was wearing shorts and t-shirt. Dumb move. Wasn't even thinking about poison at the time. Won't make that mistake again. I was wearing socks and shoes. So my only theory is that the oil is what causes this. 90% of people are allergic to this oil that's on these plants. Someone told me poison sumac is the worst one. I thought they were all the same. But the oil gets onto your skin, and wherever that touches on your skin, the allergic reaction is to cause what you see on my arm here. You know, I must have had it on my pants or something like that. When I took those off, it probably touched my toe, and that was that. So yeah, be careful. Even like if you're washing your clothes later, like you could go pick up your clothes with your hands, and that could then get on your hands. So you really have to be careful with the oil from these poisons. Luckily, I didn't get it on my hands. I didn't get it on my face. I didn't get it on my nether regions, if you know what I'm saying. So that, oh my God, that would have been terrible. But I've lost some sleep to this. I've been very annoyed by it with being itchy and stuff like that. And once you start itching, it's hard to stop. You know, it's just like eating a Pringle. You know, you pop a can of Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. So I'm thankful for the medicine that I got, which was like this cream. It's like I used to know the name of it. It's a calamine cream with some type of other thing in it. That was nice to have. But I think I'm over it. I don't think we need to talk about the poison anymore. By the next time you see me again here on these here episodes, I should be poison free. Hopefully. Unless I get into it again. There's still some stuff I want to cut down there. But I'm about ready to buy a hazmat suit on Amazon, dude. About ready to go down there looking like I literally came from the nuclear plant to start cutting down a few things. I'm like, at this point, it's not even freaking worth it. All I wanted was just to clean up my fence line. And it cost me like 3 weeks, dude. It wasn't worth it. Because like I didn't want to go for like walks that much because my toes and it's like, ugh. It didn't stop me this week though. The weather was too good to stop me. I can't be stopped. Maybe that'll be the topic or the title of this or something. It's one of the topics. What else? Roxy's birthday. Yesterday was Roxy's 11th birthday. And I just want to take a moment to say how much like I appreciate that darn dog. She's been a part of our life ever since the beginning. First thing that we did when we got our house is, even before we closed on it, we had went and looked at puppies, and I wanted a lab because the labs are just the best, obviously. And we saw these puppies in the newspaper for $300, and we called, and there was one female left, and that's what we wanted. So we went there, looked at her, didn't even have to pick out which one it was, and we got this little ball of chocolatiness with a pink collar on, and it was just love at first sight. And Roxy really is the whole reason that honestly probably the reason I'm doing YouTube full time right now, is because us bringing her home was the thing that like kicked off my channel and was like got me excited about this YouTube thing, is like to keep doing it. And I just kept doing it. Now here we are 11 years later. So I think of Roxy every time every time her birthday comes around, I think about her and this channel and like what this has all become. And it's incredible. I also think, like, on the downside, I was thinking about Roxy yesterday, and we gave her a puppy cake, by the way, for her birthday. Cody made that for her, and she got a new Chuck, like a Chuck-It toy and some treats and stuff. But she spent most of the day just sleeping. And at 77 dog years, I feel like that's the thing to do. And I just couldn't help but think, like, I just hope we have more of these years, because when we lose Roxy Bear, it's almost like a part of it really is like a part of our history, and a part of our family dies with her. And I know it's going to happen eventually, and I know it's going to be the worst day of my life. And I'm just like, I'm going to be absolutely crushed. Like, you might not see me for a while. Gosh, I'm going to get emotional. But, gosh, I was thinking about that too when I was at the vet. When I took Rox to the vet recently, I was like, there's going to be some day that we come here and we're not going to leave with her, probably. And that's just, I don't even know if I can do it. But, it is a part of pet ownership. You set yourself up for that. There's a pretty good chance that you're going to outlive the animal that you're taking on. And it's a part of life, just like it is with all of us. And I'm just hoping for the best that I can. I'm going to try to enjoy her company and give her the best life that we can over the next few years. Take her for as many walks as she can handle with these foot ailments that she seems to be having recently, and just try to enjoy it. But it's been 11 years now. And it's just, she's been a part of everything, from our first house to Clark Man coming home to everything that dog's been in. And she's like a member of this channel, like she's not like, I don't know if you call it a cast member, if we're not like running a show. This isn't a production really, but she's a member of this, just like Mellow Cat and the chickens. Like, everybody knows who all these are. There's not many people that I watch on YouTube that I can literally name like their entire family and their animals. I think that is a sign that, like, I don't know what it's a sign of, really. I guess it's just a sign that I put a lot of my life out to the public for consumption and judgment, I suppose. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing 11 years, and these past few years have been just the best. Just the ability, like, once I left my job in finance to do this, it's been incredible, and it's given me so many opportunities. I'm just so thankful. And that's kind of the final topic that I kind of wanted to end this on before we get into listener feedback. Don't go away. I know this is getting a little long, but lately I just been feeling so optimistic and so happy. And I just think about all the things that I want to do and the things that we are doing, and like the direction of even like my Lego channel and what I want to do on there. And I'm just like so darn excited for all of this, especially with summer right around the corner. Clark Man about to come home during the days. Cody's going to be home. It's just going to be awesome. And then, like, I think about all the adventures we're about to go on. Man, I can't wait for this. And that, I think, has helped too. Like this warm weather with the sun and with being outside. I probably got that necessary vitamin D in my life. I'm just feeling so good. So darn good. Getting some weight off, it's getting things taken care of. It's great. I'm riding high right now. And it's crazy because you could probably go back several episodes into like the winter, and there's probably like ones where I'm not feeling good. Right now, things are good, and I like to share all those things, because it's so often on social media you see people, this is, oh, look at me, I did this cool thing, or I'm so happy and I have the best life. It's like, no, you don't. Don't lie. Sometimes you're not feeling like that. So that was pretty much my week. I do have one bonus topic here that I meant to share last week that I'll share now before we get into the LF, which is my new abbreviation for listener feedback. I started to watch Major League Baseball somewhat. I I like watching this guy named Adam the Woo. He's a vlogger. He's like a travel vlogger. Love the guy's personality. Super positive dude. Just a happy-go-lucky guy. And I love his style where he just kind of takes his time and shows you everything that he's interested in. And he loves Major League Baseball, and he goes to all these different games, and it's got me interested in it. I've tried getting into baseball several times before, but it's just so darn boring and long that I just can't. Like, I want to, but I can't. But I found a hack. YouTube recommended Major League Baseball channel to me, and what they do is that they will take a game and they will cut it up. They will just show like the fun aspects, or like the important things, or like the moves and the, you know, like the plays in like a 6 to 8 minute video. And I started watching those. I'm like, this is amazing. You just took a 3+ hour baseball game and you got it into 6 minutes. And I get to watch and see all like the home runs and the outs and all the fun stuff that's happening. And I could literally in 1 hour sit down and watch 10 games. And it's made it really fun for me. Like, I'm starting to know the players. I'm starting to like figure out which teams I'm interested in, which ones suck. Even through those vlogs too. And then I found this guy named Zach Hampel who does like, he's always trying to catch baseballs at baseball games. And he's kind of like vlogging it too. And the YouTube algorithm is now confirmed that I'm a baseball enthusiast. But I say all this to say, if you're interested in baseball or want to be interested in baseball, it's really fun just to watch the 6-minute recap of these games. It's hard to believe that you could summarize it down into that. I think the NFL does something similar too. At least I used to watch it on TV somewhere where it'd be like a whole game would be 20 minutes. They would only show the plays where like things happen. But it's been pretty cool, and that's my like MLB life hack, I suppose. I am going to be going to some baseball games this summer, but just with our local team, not necessarily the Phillies or Pirates, because those are the two Pennsylvania teams, and we're like right in the middle between two of them. It would take me about 4 hours to get to either baseball field. I think the Pirates kind of suck right now, from what I understand. I don't know about the Phillies. I have to watch some more recaps. But that's my life, my week, and all the things that are going on in it. I hope you enjoyed tuning into all the things that are happening. Now we're going to talk about what you guys have to say with some listener feedback. LF, starting with Ryan Markham. He says, been a long time since I commented. Well, welcome back. He says, come join the minifan gang. This is kind of recapping on recaps. We love our 2022 Toyota Sienna. Had to wait a few months to get the style we wanted. The Sienna GSE has a different grille that we like better than the standard grille. Kids love it, and the van is a lot roomier than the SUVs we looked at. Plus, it can haul a lot of stuff. I think you're smart to wait. We got ours before they started adding the extra $2,000 to the MSRP. They call that a market adjustment, Ryan. It's a market adjustment, aka you're willing to pay it, so our dealership's willing to collect it. I remember my brother-in-law once saying that like no one pays sticker price for new cars. You don't anymore either. You pay $2,000. I think it was $2,500 over for the RAV4, which is it's just bonkers. I love Toyota. I think like if you're trying to get a reliable vehicle, Toyota probably is like the way to go. The only thing about the Sienna that I'm not loving is the fact that you can't take the seats out. The middle row seats, you can't take those out. I love that in the Chrysler because you can fold them all flat. You can fold them into the floor if you want to, or you can just remove them. I think Honda, you can remove them as well. And that kind of, it's a little bit of a deal breaker for me, even though I love the fact that the one you guys have is a hybrid, because I think they're all hybrids now, and it gets like 40 miles per gallon, which is, it's better than my Subaru. Like you're getting better fuel economy in your minivan, which isn't really that mini. But I need to be able to take those seats out because Clark and I are going to go camping, and sometimes you just want to throw stuff in the back and have all of that stuff down. I don't know why. I think the reason that I read is because there are airbags in the back. There's certain airbags for the rear passengers, which is a good thing, really. And they probably did some research, and they're like, how many people actually take these seats out or fold them down? And it's probably like no one. It's like me. That I'm the only person. And they're like, oh, let's just make sure they're secured in here, and then we can have side airbags and freaking airbags flying all at your 6-year-old that's back there and stuff. But yeah, I wish I could. If they folded down, that would probably be the one I'd get. And I probably should, because buying a Chrysler, I think it's going to be a pile of crap in however many years based on reliability. And that's coming from the Jeep guy life. Like I love Jeeps and stuff, but the Dodge, Chrysler, Fiat, whatever they are, like what are they called now? They were like it's like Star something. I looked it up and I was like, I have no idea what this is, but they're all conglomerates of each other and not so reliable. I like the Japanese brands, like my Subaru, fantastic. I would buy a Honda, I'd buy a Toyota. I tend to stay away from American brands, and I'm sorry if you're an American brand buyer, but that's just how I feel. I'm sure there's good ones everywhere. Ryan goes on to say, our kids love the piano at Grandma and Grandpa. I was thinking about getting them the app too. We have a keyboard, but afraid to set it up because our boys like to tip anything and everything over. Fresh food from the garden is best, and gardening teaches kids that they reap what they sow. Love the content. Wishing you and your family the very best. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you commenting on all of the plot points from last week's episode. And I'm glad you came out of comment retirement to say all these things. You'll have to let me know about the Toyota. Maybe you can you can take the seats out. Like you get in there with a wrench or a blowtorch or something. You can pull that off. But yeah, I agree with you on the garden situation too. I think like Clark's asking every day, when are we planting the garden? I have topsoil coming next week, which maybe I'll film the dump truck dumping it down there. But once that's in, then we can start planting, get my strawberries in the ground, all of the stuff we're trying to grow. And I think it is going to be like a nice family thing. Like we go out there together, we admire what we're growing. Clark's growing corn and cantaloupe and all that stuff. So that's going to be like an inspiring thing for him. And maybe someday when he has kids, he'll think back about these memories that we're making right now in this moment, where he's like, oh man, me and my dad and my mom, we used to go out and we would, we'd look at our garden and we'd eat stuff out of it. And it was a really good experience. So I'm trying to pass this along to him if I can. Next comment comes from my good buddy, Trains Are Fun, also known as Bricksar, also known as Jabbo in some circles. He says, thanks for the kind words. Watching while uploading and editing on my other channel, I was listening to the part about paying McDonald's workers more versus what you get paid at a theme park. I was in a drive-thru yesterday at Chick-fil-A, and I was thinking about my days at Six Flags. I was thinking that with what I know now, I've been a better supervisor and a better worker. We got paid nothing, but I love that job still. So many people didn't last because it wasn't worth it. When they started, they could pay less than minimum wage for seasonal work. I once worked 100 hours and brought home less than $300. A lot of money back then to a 16-year-old, though. I don't even think they would let a 16-year-old work that long now. Yeah, probably not. Probably breaking some labor laws there. But I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about this comment. And I feel like you'd be such a good guy to work at a theme park like that. Obviously, working for the phone company right now, you're probably making a good bit more than any employee would at like Six Flags. But I could see you really loving working at like the roller coaster. I could see you being like that guy that really like is hyped for the job, But ultimately, I think what I would love to see for you, and this probably isn't your dream for yourself, but it's my dream for you. I want to see you retire from the phone company with a nice fat like retirement money, being like good to go. And I want to see you open up a Lego I almost said haunted house. Open up a Lego haunted house. No, I want you to open up a Lego museum. Maybe it could be a haunted museum with all of your stuff proudly displayed inside of it. And I'd like to see you like host people to come there, whether they pay or not, whatever. How about a donation system where you could just walk through and see all the cool stuff you have? Because you probably have more really neat vintage Lego stuff than like anyone that I've seen. I would love that for you. Like, I wish that could happen right now. And you could just live your greatest life. Not saying that you're not now. Maybe you probably do love what you do, but I see your passion for that. Maybe you could even have like a little train thing off. Like it could be Lego and trains, however you see fit. Lego trains. Speaking of that, I was going to ask you about this directly, but I suppose we can do it here. I was trying to think like Clark and I want to get into trains, and I don't know if I was thinking about maybe getting into like what scale. I was looking into that. Like, oh, do I want to go bigger ones or smaller ones? Because we only have so much space. I was thinking maybe we should just do Lego trains, because it's like we have the track. We can build our own train, so it doesn't cost any money. We already have a Lego channel of very interested people that probably love seeing that. So I was thinking about maybe just doing like a Lego train layout, and then we make like our own trains to go on top of it. I think that'd be pretty darn cool. But that's like my dream, and then my dream for you as well. And I hope someday that can happen, because you have so much to offer the world, even more than you do now. I just think I think that would be cool. You could be like another Georgia person that's having like a really cool Lego spot. But I appreciate you commenting, and I hope you enjoyed your Chick-fil-A. Super jealous here because we don't have one. But I heard they pay their employees really well, and the service there is much better than McDonald's. Next comment. Speaking of comments, we had a lot of great, like really well thought out and written comments last week. This one is from Whipbird Environmental. It says, "G'day, Greg." G'day. It says, "Firstly, I want to say thanks for all the great videos. My wife, son, and and I are all fans of Greg's World. We discovered your channel after my son found some of your old Thomas videos a few months ago. I've been listening to the podcast on my drive to work. Hopefully you're having that day that I described earlier. And I also follow your Lego channel, and you inspired me to pick up my first Lego set in 10 years. Yes! Oh, I need to know what it is now. What Lego set did he get? I hope it wasn't too expensive, because I don't want to be the guy that your wallet hates. He says, I'm super excited to see your veggie patch take shape. I absolutely love tending my little patch with my 3-year-old. He loves growing carrots and tomatoes. Oh, Clark's growing carrots too. I found radish and leafy greens like lettuce and silver beet to be very rewarding when starting out. They're super easy to grow and you can harvest them really quickly compared to other crops. Yeah, you got to wait for some of these. You're out there looking, but it's you playing the long game. He says, regarding Simply Piano, as someone who plays an instrument, not very well, I'm self-taught, and I did do lessons years ago when I was interested in learning more about theory and proper techniques. I found the only downside to self-teaching is technique. It's hard to unlearn bad technique. Yeah, I can imagine. He says, I didn't stick with lessons because I just play for fun, and I still play with what's considered poor technique, but it's fun, and that's all that matters. I agree. So unless you really want to make sure you have what's considered best technique lessons, aren't necessary, and you guys are having fun, and that's what it's all about. I was thinking yesterday, I've been listening to this podcast where they kind of have this outro music. It kind of sounds like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Like, it's very soothing, and it's a great way to go out. That's the music that I want to learn to play. I want to play some Mr. Rogers style music so I can be doing I can do my podcast like this, and then you hear some piano music start to pick up towards the end. I want it to be my music though. So that's what I'm dreaming of. But I do, man, I love your comment. You're kind of you're further ahead on my journey than I am. Other than the Lego thing just getting started on. God bless you, by the way. Hope you have a room dedicated at this point. You think you just got one Lego set. You sweet summer child. That was your first Lego set. You're going to be back. Oh my gosh, there's so many good things coming out. You're probably, I don't know how old you are, but I can assume that you're probably about my age. You might be younger though. Some people have kids early. Did you see the DeLorean? Did you see Optimus Prime coming out as a Lego set? It's a great time to be a Lego collector. You came at the right time. But I love what you're doing with your kid. I think that's pretty cool. He's going to have the memories just like Clark hopefully will. And I appreciate your feedback on the piano. Appreciate that. And good day. Good luck at work today, my friend. Next one is from Was Wies Boys. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I know he gave me I should have kept the definition or the translation down here. Was Wies. He says, loving car/van talk. I think the hybrid are the best of both worlds. Love to talk about the power system. Lots to think about. And you brought up a great comment about charging battery in the garage. Yes, they can blow up just like your LiPo RC battery, and they can be deadly if not charged properly. I should tell you guys about this experience I had with a LiPo battery. Actually, no, was it a LiPo? Yeah, it might have been one of the nickel metal hydrides or whatever they are. I was charging one in the storage room over here, and it's started smoking, and I'm like, holy frick. And I threw it into this bucket thing that I had and ran it outside, and it was just smoking and expanding. It was freaking scary, dude. I'm so glad that I was home. I never charge when I'm not home, and I always take them off the charger. I unplug the charger. They can be dangerous. I mean, any battery can really. It's very rare a laptop would explode, but they have batteries in them as well. But charging these things you got to be careful with, and I agree. And what scares me a little bit about this is Clark's room is right above our garage, and oh my God, I just think about the worst case scenario where the car catches fire and then his room catches fire and then we can't get to him. Talk about absolute nightmare. So I don't know. I can't even think about it. He goes on to say, RC, we got that. I've been looking into a new work truck. They don't make 1-ton trucks yet, but when they do, I want one. What I discovered on my search is not all cars, shops, and dealerships can fix them for what you need to have the proper tools. For me, if I bought a Tesla, for instance, I would need to drive at least 5 hours to the nearest Tesla dealership. Think about that tow truck bill if the car breaks down. Win of the week, my almost 4-year-old and my wife have now picked up my hobby of 1/10 scale RC rock crawling. And he told me this weekend, I love RCing with you. That alone gave me the biggest smile ever. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love RCing with you, Daddy. Who doesn't love rock crawling, man? Okay, just like the last comment. I need to know what you're running. What kind of truck do you guys have? We have the Traxxas TRX4 Sport. That's my crawler. I also have the Red Cat Racing. I forget what my black one's called, but that one's temperamental. I love my Traxxas one. That thing's been through. It's been literally driving underwater through the creek, and it comes out like chef's kiss. I love rock crawling. I love anything RC. It's just like, it's such a fun hobby, and have your kid love it with you and your wife. He asked, has Cody ever joined your RC adventures? I was like, hey, do you want to run some RC trucks? I'll get your own truck. Like, you can use one of ours. She's not interested. And I'm like, how can you not be? Women of the Greg's World podcast, tell me why, tell me how it's possible, or guys even, how is it possible to not be interested in RC? I'm really curious to know, because to me, it seems like, how could you not? Someone hands you a controller with the ability to travel this vehicle in a very fast manner in any direction you choose, and turn it and jump it and crash it. It's irresistible to me. But it's that's my hobby and my thing. But I'm glad that you guys are all getting into it. You guys just like just like Lego, you guys are gonna have the whole lineup of trucks there. You guys are all gonna be driving together. It's gonna be glorious. Oh man, I'm so excited for you guys. That's so cool. Next one, thank you for the comment, by the way. Next one comes from Jareth. Let me know what your truck is. I've outgrown collecting Lego, but towards the end where you said about building mocks rather than sets brought back a lot of memories for me. It hasn't been the sets that I've remembered so much as all the cool things I've built, no matter how janky they were looking back. Speaking of hobbies, imminent win of the week. If it all goes to plan, I am set to embark on a new one. I'm excited to be going fishing for the first time with a mate from work. The goal just being have fun. Cheers from Australia. Yes, that's pretty cool. Fishing trip with your boy, with your mate. Hey mate, cheers from Australia. I'm gonna get your Australian accent. I think, in my humble opinion, and this isn't just playing up to my Australian fan base, who I'm sure are numbered in the dozens. I think the Australian accent is the best accent. I just love it. I love it. I love the accent. They don't have an accent. Who does have an accent? We have an accent. Everyone has an accent. But I think theirs is, I think of the English language, theirs sounds the best. It's like the best use of the English language. I hope you have a glorious time on your fishing trip. You might even be on it right now. Maybe right now, at this very moment I'm talking about this, you're reeling in like the most giant fish of all time. I don't even know what you're fishing for. I don't know what fish are common in Australia. You're reeling in just like the biggest swordfish. You're reeling in a shark right now. I don't know. I hope you're having fun though. That's the important thing. And if that's your goal, you don't really care if you're catching fish. You're just hanging out, drinking some cold ones, and hanging out with your dudes. I think that's pretty darn cool. Last comment of the week. This is the teary-eyed comment of the week from Tracy. It says, hearing you read my comment made me a bit emotional. Family is really all that matters. You talking about your garden dreams remind me of my childhood. We had a garden the size of a school gym. I learned to work hard, love fruits and veggies, and respect my parents' resourcefulness. That's a hard word to write and to say. Plus, when my dad had his heart attack, we were able to live off our food storage we got from preserving food from the garden for the 3 months he wasn't able to work. I have fond memories of the time we spent as a family caring for the garden, harvesting and preserving that food, even if at the time I may have groaned at all the work. There you have it. Sometimes in the moment, it feels like a thing you're doing is a burden, or it's not worth it, or you hate it, especially when you're younger. But then you realize later in life that those were the things that are truly important. Those were the good days. What is that saying? You don't know you're in the good days until you're no longer in the good days, or something like that. I butchered it, but sometimes you're in your good days, and you just got to appreciate it. Like I was saying earlier with Roxy Bear and all this stuff that's been happening in life, especially this week, I think I might be in my good days right now. And there's a part of me that worries that someday these good days won't exist anymore. And that worries me, but I also think, like, you know what? No matter what happens in life, just like Tracy says here, if you have your family, if you have yourself, and you have the confidence that you can do things, you can always make yourself have a good day, regardless of the circumstance that may be happening right now. Even if it feels like it's been going on for a long time, you will get through it. We always do. What do I always say to you guys? You know it now. Time and pressure. If you want something, go out and get it. If you want this week to be a good week, even if it is cloudy every day and it's raining every day, you can make it a good week. It's all up here. I'm pointing to my head for you podcast listeners. It's all a decision that you get to make. Are you going to make this week a good week? I hope so, because I am. And I wish the best for all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Greg's World Podcast, episode 124. I hope you got something out of this, whether it was entertainment, information, inspiration, education. I appreciate all of the commenters that left comments last week. If you'd like to comment on this episode regarding anything that I spoke about here or just anything in general, I'm happy to hear from you guys. Hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you all in the next episode.